The boy was not supposed to survive that winter. The cold had already claimed 3 children from the lower streets, and the villagers said it was only a matter of time before it claimed him too. Aaron had no family, no fire, no roof that did not leak. He slept behind the blacksmith's shop beside a broken cart, wrapped in a thin blanket that smelled of rust and smoke. Most people did not look at him. Those who did saw a problem. That night the wind was cruel. It sliced through the alleys like a blade, carrying snow that stung the eyes and froze the lungs. Aaron had not eaten since morning, when he found a crust of bread in the dirt. His stomach twisted with pain, but hunger had become an old companion. He did not fear hunger anymore. He feared the silence. When the wind stopped howling, the world became too quiet, too empty. He walked toward the edge of the village, toward the forest where soldiers rarely patrolled. He did not know why he walked. Perhaps he only wanted to feel less trapped. Snow reached his ankles, soaking his torn boots. His fingers were blue, trembling. That was when he heard it. A weak cry. Not human, not wolf. Something softer, yet filled with pain. Aaron followed the sound through the trees until he reached a narrow clearing hidden by thick branches. There, beneath a fallen oak, lay a small shape curled in the snow. At first he thought it was a strange bird. Then it lifted its head. Golden eyes met his. A tiny dragon lay before him, its scales pale silver, but dulled by frost. One wing was twisted unnaturally. A dark wound marked its side, crusted with frozen blood. Smoke rose weakly from its nostrils, fading quickly into the icy air. Aaron stopped breathing. Dragons were hunted. The king had declared them cursed creatures, enemies of mankind. Soldiers were paid in gold for each one killed. Villages that sheltered dragons were burned as traitors. And yet this dragon was no monster. It was small, alone, terrified. The dragon tried to snarl, but the sound came out broken. Aaron's first instinct was to run. If soldiers found him here, he would be executed without question. But the dragon's body shook violently. Its breath grew slower. He knew that look. He had seen it in his reflection in frozen puddles. The look of someone losing the fight. Aaron stepped closer. "I won't hurt you," he whispered. The dragon's eyes followed him carefully. There was intelligence in them, and pain. So much pain. Aaron removed his thin blanket. It was the only protection he had. Without it, the night would cut straight through him. He hesitated only a second. Then he wrapped the blanket around the dragon. The creature flinched, then went still. Aaron knelt beside it and pressed his body against its cold scales, trying to share warmth. The scales were icy, but beneath them he felt a faint heat, like an ember struggling to survive. "You're not a monster," he murmured. "You're just alone." Tears filled his eyes, though he did not know why. Maybe because for the first time, he did not feel like the only unwanted soul in the world. Hours passed. The cold attacked his body mercilessly. His teeth chattered, his vision blurred. He wrapped his arms tighter around the dragon, ignoring the sharp edges of its scales, cutting into his skin. "Stay with me," he whispered. He did not know if he meant the dragon or himself. Suddenly, torches lit the forest. Voices shouted in the distance. "Spread out. Find it before dawn." Soldiers thought the dragon's eyes widened in fear. It tried to move, but cried out in pain. Aaron's heart pounded. If they found this clearing, the dragon would die. Without thinking, Aaron dragged snow over the dragon's body, covering it carefully while leaving space to breathe. He lay on top of it, pretending to be a frozen mound. Boots crunched closer. A soldier stepped into the clearing. Aaron held his breath. The torchlight swept across the trees, then over the ground. It paused inches from Aaron's face. For a moment that felt endless. The soldier stared, then he turned away. "Nothing here," he shouted. The torches faded. Aaron collapsed against the dragon, shaking. "You're safe," he whispered. But the dragon's breathing had grown shallow. Its heart was fading. Aaron felt something break inside him. "No," he said fiercely. "You don't get to die. Not like this." He tore his shirt and pressed it against the dragon's wound. Blood soaked the cloth immediately. The dragon whimpered weakly. "I don't know how to fix this," he admitted, tears streaming down his frozen cheeks. "But I'll try." The dragon looked at him, and something impossible happened. A voice entered his mind, soft, ancient. "Why?" Aaron gasped. "You hear me?" the voice said. "Yes," he whispered, trembling. "Why protect me?" the dragon asked. "Humans hate us." Aaron swallowed. "Because no one protected me." Silence filled the clearing. Then the dragon's heart glowed brighter beneath its scales. Warmth spread between them. I am hunted because they fear what I am," the dragon said. "I was born with a fire that can end kings." Aaron almost laughed, despite the pain. "Then maybe kings should be afraid." The dragon's golden eyes softened. Footsteps returned. This time, more of them. The captain himself entered the clearing, sword drawn. "There," he shouted. "I see movement." Soldiers surrounded them. The snow was kicked away, revealing the dragon's silver scales. Gasps filled the air. "A hatchling," one whispered. "Kill it," the captain ordered. Aaron stood up weakly and spread his arms. "Stop," he cried. The captain sneered. "Move aside, boy." Aaron did not move. The first soldier lunged forward. Aaron threw himself over the dragon. The sword came down. Pain exploded. Through his back, he screamed. Warm blood soaked the snow. The dragon roared. Not a small, weak cry. A roar that shook the trees. Fire erupted from its body in a blinding wave. Soldiers were thrown back, armor melting, weapons shattering. The captain tried to stand, but fell as flames circled him, without touching Aaron. The dragon's voice thundered inside Aaron. "Mind you chose me over your life." Aaron's vision darkened. "I didn't want you to be alone," he whispered. The world faded. Darkness wrapped around him. Then warmth returned. Eryn opened his eyes slowly. He lay in the same clearing, but the snow had melted in a wide circle around him. The soldiers were gone. Ash remained. The dragon stood before him, larger now, stronger, its wings fully formed, shining silver like moonlight. The wound in Aaron's back was gone. In its place was a glowing mark shaped like a flame. "You should be dead," the dragon said, this time aloud. Aaron touched his chest in shock. "What did you do?" "I shared my life with you," the dragon replied. "Our souls are bound now." Aaron sat up slowly. "You saved me." The dragon tilted its head. "You saved me first." News of that night spread quickly. The king declared Aaron a traitor, a dragon servant, a curse upon the land. Bounties were placed on both their heads. Villagers, who once ignored Aaron, now feared him. But he was no longer alone. They traveled together through forests and mountains. The dragon, who called herself Lyra, grew stronger each day. Aaron learned to listen to her thoughts, to feel the fire within himself. But the king would not let them live in peace. One evening, they were surrounded by royal knights wielding enchanted chains. The battle was brutal. Lyra fought fiercely, but the chains weakened her fire. Aaron was struck down, pinned beneath a knight's blade. The king stepped forward. "You could have been nothing quietly," he said coldly. "Instead, you chose rebellion." Aaron coughed. "Blood. I chose kindness." The king raised his sword. Lyra screamed, and something ancient awakened inside Aaron. The mark on his chest burned like the sun. A surge of fire exploded outward, shattering chains, breaking swords, lifting him to his feet. He was no longer just a boy. He was fire and fury, and hope combined. You hunted her because you feared her power, Aaron said, his voice echoing unnaturally. But your greatest fear should have been this. The king's sword melted in his hands. The knights fled. Lyra stood beside Aaron. Her wings spread wide. Together, they rose into the sky. Years passed. The king fell. The hunting ended. Dragons were no longer monsters in whispered stories. And people began to understand something simple. The night a poor boy chose to protect a dying dragon. Destiny truly had been watching, not because of power, not because of fire, but because even in a frozen world, kindness was stronger than fear, and sometimes, the smallest act of warmth can change the fate of kingdoms.